Welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play Steins. In the last episode, Rintaro Okabe and Moeka Kiryu decided to stake out Yugo Tennouji's house. And, as expected, the Rounders showed up and picked up the IBN 5100 and took it with them to CERN's headquarters in France. Now the time has come to finally confront Tennouji directly, the man who owns the building that we currently live in. I have Kurisu stand guard outside the house while Moeka and I go inside. Not that we're planning to break in. We ring the doorbell like honest citizens. You certainly have a lot to answer for, Mr. Braun. Tennouji soon opens the door and invites us into the living room. The divergence meter is sitting in its usual spot. I glance at the numbers. 0.523307%. We're almost there. There's still a long way to go before I reach 1%. How much more of this can I take?
よく来てくれたな。
It was very blunt of you there, Tennouji. It's just after dawn, much too early for guests, but Tennouji welcomes us with a smile. He even starts preparing some instant coffee. Oh, that's very generous of him.
ずいぶん早起きなんですね、ミスター・ブラウン。
まあな。苗の学校の時間に合わせてるから、基本的に早起きなんだよ。
It's definitely a good thing that Nai isn't here. That makes this a little bit easier.
もう習慣になっちまってる。
お嬢さんはまだ寝ているんですか？
うるせえ。前のこと聞き出してどうするつもりだ。寝込みを襲おうとしたらマジで殺す。
Unfortunately, Mr. Braun is a very well-muscled man, and he could easily pummel us into next week. We're just gonna have to take this one step at a time. I'm more interested in his wife. There's still no sign of her. Is she asleep too? Or could she be hiding somewhere? Or perhaps Rintaro, there is another option. As to why Tennouji's wife is not here. I'd like to do a thorough search of the house, but of course that's impossible. And then there's what he said just now about seeing Nai off to school. That sounded like something a single father would say. As I said before, many episodes ago, there are two possibilities. Either Tennouji's wife has divorced him, or she has passed away. Or there is the possibility that she might in fact be the mysterious FB. But that may have actually been a mistake. Maybe Tennouji is not just another courier after all. Maybe he doesn't even know about FB. But he does know about the IBN and the Rounders. There's the possibility that FB might not even be an Akiba. Nevertheless, I need answers. But how do I get them? I suppose we're just going to have to be forthcoming with Tennouji. Moeka is just staring at the floor. I can't count on her for any bright ideas. And whether or not Tennouji's wife is FB, I don't think this man will fall for any tricks. I decide to go for the direct approach. That's pretty much the only option available to us.
数時間前 この家の前に6人の男が集まり、とあるものを持ってフランスに渡った。そのことについて当然ご存知ですね。
This time, Tennouji doesn't give me his usual macho attitude. He just smiles softly instead.
それが
So you don't deny it.
IBN5100。あなたは知っているはずだ。
幻のレトロ PC だろう。
So Tennouji is aware of the Phantom PC of Akihabara. This is too easy. He's never this cooperative. Yeah. I don't trust you anymore.
あなたは何者だ？運び屋か？それともラウンダーか？
He's not denying it. So Yugo Tennouji is indeed a rounder for CERN. Instead of answering my question, Tennouji looks straight at Moeka.
おめえは裏切ったのか M4。
And that right there tells us everything we need to know about both Yugo Tennouji and FB. Strange that you would say that, Mr. Braun. Moeka jerks upright. M4 is Moeka's codename, something only FB should know. And Yugo Tennouji just mentioned that just now, which can mean only one thing. Indeed, Yugo Tennouji is FB. Tennouji laughs once, a dry sound.
フェルディナント・ブラウンって知ってるか？
Ferdinand Braun, eh? Or Braun, not Braun. Let me just rack my brains for a moment, Tennouji. It wouldn't have something to do with your vaunted Braun Tube workshop, perhaps. Moeka and I look at each other, confused by the sudden change of topic. Well, at least now we know what FB stands for. Ferdinand Braun.
おいおい、ブラウン管を発明したノーベル物理学賞の偉人だぞ。
Yeah, I saw that coming. Unfortunately, Rintaro and Moeka did not. Tennouji has a thing for Braun tubes. I know that much. But what does that have to do anything? Use your brain, Rintaro Okabe. What are the initials of Ferdinand Braun?
フェルディナント・ブラウン。頭文字は？
FB. So obvious once it's revealed.
そういうことだ。
And I probably should have seen this coming as well. Remember that when Moeka was around her, she had a gun. Should have stood to reason that if Tennouji was involved with CERN as he is, he too would be armed with a firearm. Tennouji casually produces a handgun. The motion is so smooth and natural that I don't even recognize it as a gun at first. Its heavy form gives off a chilling black luster. And there is only a sad expression on Tennouji's face. The muzzle was pointed at Moeka. Moeka and I are unarmed. We didn't plan for this, and I doubt that time leaping will actually save us in this instance. How could we have? We thought FB was Tennouji's wife, not the man himself.
一つ聞かせてください。
Unfortunately, Rintaro's curiosity may in fact be the end of him in the
あなたの
situation.
奥さんは
苗を産んだ時に死んだ。それに
That's unfortunately tragic. So, Tennouji's wife died during childbirth. I curse silently. No wonder I've never seen her. She's been dead for so long. Which means you go Tennouji as FB, Ferdinand Braun.
そんな。いやいや。
Indeed it is, Moeka Kiryu. I said it before, and I'll say it again. You were fooled, thanks to a little something known as identity fraud.
俺への依存の次は現実逃避か？
You were used, Moeka. Keeping his gun trained on Moeka, the man I knew as Mr. Braun laughed scornfully. And yet, I noticed that every time Rintaro called you Mr. Braun, you said you hated that nickname, even though you love Braun Tubes. That's a bit hypocritical of you there, Tennouji. We're at an overwhelming disadvantage, however. I was a fool to believe the direct approach would work. Now my recklessness is going to get both of us killed. No, not both of us. I don't die here. I'm here because I time leap on the 16th. That fact is written on the fabric of this world line. Sadly, unfortunately for Moeka Kiryu, however. So if the attractor field model was right, I can't possibly die now on the morning of the 15th. My survival is guaranteed by but the same force that keeps killing Mayuri. However, Moeka is not so lucky. She dies today. It doesn't matter how, only that it does. She could easily die now, right before my very eyes, killed by Tennouji, the man who hid behind the identity of FB. What am I going to do about it? Could we possibly save? No, even if we did manage to save her now, she's only going to die later, and we'd only have a bullet and an injury for our trouble. Well, we're definitely in a bit of a spot. Nothing. Well, we do have crews who are standing outside, but we really shouldn't be involving her in this at this point. Doesn't matter. My goal is to obtain FB's cell phone and send a D-mail to Moeka in the past. Do that, and the IBN 5100 is as good as ours. That is, unless something else happens in the Alpha world line that keeps it from our grasp. That is the reason I'm here. The reason why we showed up in the first place. In any case, I mustn't let my handgun scare me. Or his handgun scare me. If I had a handgun, we would be at a Mexican standoff. And even without his gun, Mr. Braun could essentially pummel us into next week with his fists. But there's no turning back now. All I can do is stay on the offensive, even though he's the one with the weapon.
あなたがラウンダーの一員だったとはな。セルンの犬だったとはな。
So even though Tennouji is a certain handler,
犬か。間違っちゃいね
he's pretty much in the same boat as Moeka Kiryu and the other rounders. Just like Moeka, Tennouji himself is destined to be cut loose and erased the moment his own usefulness comes to an end. Tennouji is like a different person today. He's composed, he doesn't get angry even when I provoke him. You wouldn't expect a man with a gun to be so calm. Is this who he really is? Was the gruff but good-natured storekeeper just an act? Probably just to scare you, Rintaro.
銃声で娘が目を覚ます。
That's a good point there. Nai is still in the other room. And I don't think that she would, I don't think she would have a good feeling, seeing her father become a murderer. Although having said that, something tells me that, Nai is the reason why you're cooperating with CERN. So they're blackmailing you.
だからなんだ。
娘にそんな汚れ仕事をしている姿を見られたいのか。
It would certainly break her heart, Yugo.
俺の娘は見た目で判断するような器の小さい女じゃねえんだ。
No. I sincerely doubt that, Tennouji. I grind my teeth.
よりによってあなたがラウンダーとは。
Strange but true, unfortunately.
あなたにそんなことをさせるために世話をしてやったんじゃない。
The mention of Suzu's name, Tennouji goes cold. His smile stiffens for a second. But then he slaps his knee and laughs.
なんだよおめえ。スズさんのこと知ってんのか。だったらもっと早く言ってくれよ。
Once again, I've completely forgotten that time leaping. We never mentioned the fact that we knew Suzu in this world line. Probably should have started the conversation with that.
だがな。ずいぶん分かったようなこと言うじゃねえか。スズさんは10年も前に死んだんだ。その当時、岡部は8歳かそこらだろ。
Yeah, she was in her 40s when she died. But, funny about that.
なのにスズさんのことが分かるってのか。
Yeah, time is a very funny thing, especially where time travel is concerned. I glare at Tennouji. The anger and frustration are overwhelming. Yugo, I'll let you in on a little secret. The kind, middle-aged woman who raised you, who gave you a home and sheltered you, that was your part-time warrior, the girl that you hired for 10 days. They're one and the same.
俺の主観時間では彼女はほんの数週間前までこの時代にいた。
Think about it for a moment. Suzuha Amane, Suzu Hashida. By the way, Hashida is the last name of our friend and compatriot Daru Hashida. You really ought to pay more attention.
未来を変えるのは君たちにかかってる。私は荷物をこの秋葉原に絶対持ってくるから。そして君たちに責任を持って託すから。
Although I sincerely doubt that Suzu was aware that Tennouji was a rounder handler. But if she were here right now, she would be incredibly heartbroken.
お願い。 未来を変えてほしい。
But we made a promise to Suzu, Mr. Braun, and we intend to see that promise through to the bitter end. I still remember her words vividly, though it feels like it's been forever since she spoke them. In objective time it was just a few days ago.
あなたのすぐ近くにいたんだよ彼女は。橋田鈴、いや天音鈴葉はセルンと戦うためにこの時代にやってきたタイムトラベラーだ。
Yeah, that whole thing about her being intuitive and knowing how things were going to happen. She lived back in time from 2010 to 1975 and lived for a few years, and then helped a young boy by the name of Yugo. That's you, by the way. I know it's crazy, I know it sounds paradoxical, but it's the truth.
日本
Sad but true.
FB あなたの恩人は2036年からやってきたんだよ。我がラボの一員誰の娘だ。
We have nothing to lose with revealing what we know at this
鈴
point.
葉はセルンを恨んでいた。なのにその鈴葉に世話になったあなたはセルンの犬か。これでは鈴葉が浮かばれないぞ。
And Tennouji readies his gun. This isn't Haruin Kiyoma's Chinibiu nonsense, Yugo Tennouji. It's the truth. Tennouji thrusts his gun at me. I barely manage to keep from flinching.
どうしてこんなことになった。
How indeed. I think the answer is currently sleeping in the other room,
うるせえな。
unfortunately.
いろいろあるんだよ。
Complicated, eh? Try us, Tennouji. Is that supposed to be an excuse?
本当に FB
I think we've already established that, Moeka, and we're well beyond that point. Moeka looks completely lost. Tennouji sighs and lowers his gun. So he isn't going to kill Moeka just yet. But there is his confession, as he's said before. Ah yes, the males.
全部俺が書いた。なぜ女言葉かって？カムフラージュだよ。正体を隠すためのな。
Ah, identity fraud. And yet, perhaps, Tennouji may have actually seen something in Moeka. And come to think of it, remember what Moeka said about them never meeting? Tennouji knew who Moeka was. He even called her by name. So even though Moeka didn't know that Tennouji was FB, Tennouji knew who Moeka was right from the get-go.
ネットでもネカマなんて腐るほどいるだろ。
Unfortunately, Tennouji is right.
マジな話、大変だったんだぜ M4。メール送りすぎだタコ。
And just like that, Tennouji shreds Moeka's perception of FB into tiny, tiny little pieces. Just like her heart.
おめえのくだらねえ相談に全レスしてやったんだ。感謝しろ。
No, it's just me, but he's almost, it's for a moment there I swore he was back to the old Mr. Braun, Tennouji. Indeed. He used you and has now completely abandoned you. Unfortunately, the same is going to happen to him.
お母さんみたいな存在で、私は FB のためなら何だって。
And that's unfortunately what made you the perfect rounder. The perfect tool. In every
そう
sense
仕
of the
向けたん
word.
だよ。おめえみたいなメンヘルは簡単に依存してくれるから操りやすい。
もうやめろ。
Indeed. Enough of this foolishness. I approach Tennouji but freeze once he points the gun at me again.
なぜ連絡くれなかったの？
3 words. The IBN 5100. Okay, that's more than 3 words, but numbers don't count.
IBN 5100を手に入れた時点で、おめえはもう用済みだからだ。
Indeed. Once CERN has all the IBNs at their IBN 5100s at their disposal, there will be absolutely no one to read the proprietary code.
用済み。
That was obvious from the start. I've been telling her this whole time that FB had abandoned her. I guess it wasn't real to her until she heard it from FB's own mouth.
ダイレクトメールでメンバーを募集するのは機密性の保持の観点からするとザルだけどな。それがラウンダーのやり方だ。
Either people like Moeka, complete introverts who are completely out of sorts with society, or callous, greedy mercenaries who will do anything for hire
そして
and won't even question it.
IBN5100 を見つけたメンバーは任務達成となり口封じされる。例外なく全員だ。
CERN's little insurance policy, and if Moeka is to be eliminated, it's only a matter of time before Tennouji himself gets the axe. What is he saying? I know exactly what he's saying.
そうすることでセルンと委員会は機密を保持しつつ安い金で俺たちみたいなはみ出し者を利用してるわけだ。
In the end, the Rounders are nothing more than CERN's puppets, they're pawns, they're little toy soldiers. If CERN were really serious, they would actually start sending an actual proper private army, not just a ragtag militia of mercenaries to do their dirty work.
あいつらにしてみればラウンダーは全員駒さ。悲しいことにな。
Yes, it does. Very much. Without dropping a smile, Tennouji takes his gun.
任務達成はすなわち処分確定。扱いとしては犬っつうより家畜だな。
Don't do this, Hugo. It's not worth it. And presses the gun against the side of his head.
逆らえば家族が危険にさらされるんだ。大事な娘に手出しさせられねえだろ。
The problem with that little philosophy, Hugo, is that even if you commit suicide, CERN will still go after your daughter. That's just a small observation on my part.
おい、よせ。
すずさんには悪いと思ってるよ。
Of course, it goes without saying that if the world line is now converging on Tennouji's own death, then there is absolutely nothing we can do or say.
なんでこんなことになったんだろうな。
There is only one way to change that fate, Tennouji. Give us your phone. Let us send a D-mail to cancel Moeka's D-mail and get the IBN 5100 so that we can make sure that none of this ever happens. And Tennouji pulls the trigger. Oh dear. And just like that, Yugo Tennouji is dead. And that was a very loud gunshot, which means that Nai is probably woken up.
なんで
Brains splatter against the wall. Tennouji's massive body drops to the floor and sprawls out, motionless. A dark red stain begins to spread over the tatami mats. He's dead. Tennouji, Mr. Braun, is dead. That's what happens when you have a death sentence. It's over, and I still don't understand what happened. Would he have killed himself even if we hadn't confronted him? Was his death too the will of fate? Tennouji has completed his mission. Maybe he chose to eliminate himself rather than face certain assassins. Unfortunately, Tennouji's noble sacrifice will not spare his daughter from the wrath of CERN.
バカだあなたは
You certainly were a complete fool, Yugo Tennouji. I bite down hard on my lip. I pound my fists against the floor.
娘を残して何勝手に死んでるんだよ
He meant to protect her with his sacrifice, but what is Nai supposed to do about it now?
Nande? 笑いながら死ねるんだよ
There are no words. All rounders are expendable, he said. Not just Moeka, but eventually those other rounders, including the crew cut man, they'll all be well paid. And then they'll all be retired. Does that mean FB was just another pawn? Tennouji essentially said that in so many words. Is that how CERN operates? That's insanity. This can't be real. For an organization that wants to control all of time and space, nothing is beyond them. Nai. Is she still asleep in the next room, blissfully unaware of her father's suicide? I doubt it. That gunshot would have been enough to wake the dead. How do we explain this to her? Should we run away? Again, strictly speaking, my purpose is to obtain FB's phone. Well, at this point, there is literally nothing stopping us from doing that. Once I send the D-mail and change the world line, all of this will be undone. I can run like a coward, and no one will know. But I'll know. I timidly slide open the door to Nai's bedroom. She there? It looks like you'd expect. There's a red backpack hanging next to the desk, and there's a futon laid out on the floor. But Nai isn't there. The window's open. The lace curtains are waving, as if to invite the fresh morning breeze inside.
いない。
It appears that Nai Tennouji has vanished. Where did she go? No, don't tell me Cern kidnapped her. Tennouji, you fool. I don't even know if she was here when we arrived. None of this makes sense. This isn't the world I know. But it's the world that is, for the time being.
探そう。
Indeed, the very thing that we're here to collect. I need Tennouji's phone. I'm relieved that Nai isn't here. I don't have to tell her about her father's death. I find Tennouji's phone in his pants pocket. Well, at least he had it on him. I was ready to kill him for it if I had to. I never thought he would kill himself. And now I'm looting his dead body like a hyena scavenging for scraps of meat. I make myself want to puke. I leave as soon as I have the phone, dragging the catatonic Moeka with me. We regroup with Kurisu, who was worried sick, waiting outside, and hail a taxi. I wish we hadn't spent so much time parked near Tennouji's house. Once the body is found, the police might trace the rental car back to us. Maybe we should have reported it first, but I'd rather not have to answer any questions if we can avoid it. Besides, soon none of this will have happened. All that matters is that we get back to the lab ASAP.
そう。店長が。
Yes, he was, and I take it you heard everything. Or, at the very least, you heard enough. First, we take Moeka back to her apartment. There, I explain to Kurisu what happened. Moeka's still in shock. She didn't say a word on the way back. Now she's sitting on the floor by the entrance, staring off into space. The one individual that she put her complete faith and trust in, a person that used her and was used in turn, is now dead. It must have been quite a shock to hear Tennouji's FB's confession. The one person she trusted betrayed her. She may never recover. But were Tennouji's actions really a betrayal? I'm not quite convinced. Something felt off back there. Rounders who complete their mission are eliminated, no exceptions. That's what FB said. But in that case, why wasn't Moeka killed? I mean, Tennouji could have killed Moeka on the spot, and yet he chose not to.
なあ。萌えか。
I doubt that Moeka is in any state to be reasoned with at this
もし
moment.
かしたら FB はお前を生かそうとしたのかもしれない。
It certainly is a
あの人は
possibility.
お前を見捨てたんじゃなくて突き放して生かそうとしたのかも。
Unfortunately, Tennouji's actions in this fashion were also in vain, because Moeka Kiryu will die. At some point, sometime today, Moeka Kiryu will die, and there is nothing anyone can do about it. This may just be wishful thinking indeed. We'll never know FB's true intentions. But I want to believe that Tennouji did care for her, that there was a place for Moeka somewhere, especially in his heart. What the hell am I doing? Why am I trying to comfort Moeka? Maybe I'm just soft.
Okabe, 今すぐ D メールを送るべきよ。
Yeah, thank you very much, Kurisu, for bringing us back to the present. Kurisu's expression is grave. The longer we waste time...
今を逃すと、いろいろ面倒なことに巻き込まれるかもしれないから。
Indeed, Kurisu had the same thought as me. That makes 3 of us.
マユリを救うことであって、セルンへの復讐じゃないでしょ。
And once we get our hands on the IBN 5100, CERN's ambitions will go up in
私
smoke.
たちが作ったタイムリープマシンのせいで犠牲が出るのは気持ちのいいことじゃない。
ああ、そうだな。
FB's phone is in my possession. There's no longer any reason to stay on this world line. It's only a matter of time before the police come looking for us. I should send the D-mail immediately. Hopefully Daru's at the lab. When I do, the present will be reconstructed. Tennouji will still be alive. Moeka will still be in contact with FB. And at last, the IBN 5100 will return to me. I just need to think about saving Mayuri, and all will be well.
ダルはもうラボに来ていると思うか。
Unfortunately, if that's not the case, then you'll have to make a beeline for the lab. I just hope he's not at Queen May's. I'll send the same message I tried to send from Moeka's phone earlier. Only this time, it will be from FB's phone. When Moeka sees it, she'll believe it to be an order from FB. Knowing her dependence on FB, she'll obey without question. Makes me sick to be taking advantage of Moeka's vulnerabilities like this. Unfortunately, we don't have any other options. How am I any different from FB? Well, we're not going to abandon her, that's for certain.
あと5分くらいでラボに着くって。
5 minutes, eh? I suppose we'll, have to wait until then.
ねえ、さっき店長の家でのことだけど。
After closing her phone, Kurisu glances at Moeka and lowers her voice.
私、外で見張ってて、銃声が聞こえて。
Yeah, even Kurisu heard that.
その直後ぐらいに、あの子の姿、見た。
So Nai was there after all.
あの子。
That's unfortunate. That would explain the open window. I ask, even though I already know the answer. There's only one person it could be. Nai Tennouji.
家の裏口から走り去っていった。呼び止めようとしたら目があったわ。
Kurisu bites her lip, as if fighting an unpleasant memory. It happened right after she heard the gunshot. If that's true, then Nai saw her father die by his own hand. She saw her father die and ran away. And there's apparently a knock on the door. That's very ominous. Someone's here. Who could it possibly be? Maybe another CERN agent. Or someone else. Moeka, who'd been squatting by the entrance, slowly lifts her head. This is wrong. The timing's too perfect. Today, Moeka Kiryu dies. The world line has already approved that fate. Has it come for her already? Moeka reaches for the doorknob.
よせ開けるな
Unfortunately, there is nothing we can do, Rintaro. I tried to stop her, but to no avail. Moeka is already turning the doorknob. The door opens slowly. And there stands...
こんにちは。
Nai Tennouji. An innocent greeting. And yet, this innocent little girl has not a trace of innocence on her face whatsoever. A child's voice familiar. How did she find this place? How did she get here? Well, those are two questions that we could have asked ourselves. Because if you remember, in the world line in which we managed to avoid CERN's ambush altogether, and there was absolutely no possible way that they could have found Mayuri, Nai Tennouji showed up and inadvertently killed Mayuri in a genuine accident. Why did she come here? There's only one reason. Nai steps up to Moeka. Moeka's body blocks my view. The next instant, Moeka drops to her knees like a string-cut puppet. An innocent laugh. With no trace of innocence whatsoever. Hands dyed with blood. A cleaver in her hand.
嘘でしょ
Nai Tennouji has murdered Moeka Kiryu in cold blood as revenge for her father's death.
嘘じゃない。
Nai's lips twist into a victorious sneer. I think Mayuri would be very upset with you, Nai Tennouji. She looks straight at me, her eyes burning with intense hatred. Those aren't the eyes of a child. What's going on here? Is this really Nai?
私は許さない。
You won't forgive me or Horin Kiyoma? The venom in her voice chills me to the bone.
父さんを死に追いやったお前たちを。
I would definitely beg to differ on that.
絶対に許さないから。
I would ask that you would never forgive CERN as well.
私がこの手で殺してやるまで許さないから。
We should probably send that D-mail and get the hell out of this world line. Kurisu and I stare in shocked silence. neither of us can move a muscle.
岡部倫太郎
My heart skips a beat. I feel like someone has just walked over my grave.
お前は15年後に殺す。それまで怯えて待ってなさい。
15 years, that's oddly specific. And Nai laughs once again in maniacal insanity. Nai tosses the knife away and leaves, laughing all the while. I thought it was a cleaver. By the way, I hear the sounds of her footsteps pattering down the stairs. Soon they fade away, leaving us in silence. It's a very good thing that Mayuri is not here. She would be devastated, not to mention heartbroken. Behold the power of the world line, Rintaro Okabe. My entire body is shaking. I have to struggle just to move a finger.
いや、それよりも、萌香が。
If convergence is to be believed, Moeka is beyond saving. Moeka's clothes are soaked in blood. There's a gaping wound in her abdomen where Nai stabbed her.
落ち着け。
Kurishu yells at me to come to my senses. Then she takes out her phone.
キリさんの容体を見て、私は救急車を。
Unfortunately, I don't think we can do that. However, I do believe that there is a way to save Kuryu Moeka, and that involves undoing the D-mail.
待って。それより先に D メールを送ってしまった方がいいのかもしれない。
That is a very good idea. Even now, Kurisu is calm. I don't think she is actually calm. I feel an irrational surge of anger at her composure, but I know that she's right. Once I send the D-mail, this world line will be undone. I know that, but still I run to Moeka's side. She has no one left in this world after all. When I lift her up in my arms, I see that her chest is already covered in blood.
萌香。
She's my enemy.
しっかりしろ。おい。
She killed Mayuri.
聞
In
こえる
cold
か。
blood, no less.
萌香。
In the same way that Tennouji killed her. I can't understand her. I can't forgive her. And yet, in our ignorance, we accepted her. And we can't help but call her name. Shining Finger, Lab Member 005 of the Future Gadget Lab. Because, in a sense, she too is a victim. Indeed she is. Moeka slowly opens her eyes. Her eyes are blank and unfocused. She's fading fast. She tries to speak, but her voice catches in her throat. I bring my ear closer to her lips.
私。
Are you trying to say that you were responsible for FP's death? Because that's not the case.
人。
You didn't kill anyone in this world line. Wait, you killed someone precious to us. Could it be that in her final moments, Moeka Kiryu is finally remembering the actions she committed on the other world lines? Yes, you did. Countless times. Not on this world line, but on others. One might even go so far as to say that this is in fact the choice of Steins Gate, the will of fate. An eye for an eye, as they say. I silently squeezed Moeka's hand. Moeka doesn't squeeze back. She no longer has the strength. And now you don't even have FB. Even now, Moeka Kiryu still believes in Yugo Tennouji, Ferdinand Braun. Yes, she would. Unfortunately, we cannot hate Moeka Kiryu in light of what has just transpired. In the end, her codependency was indeed her undoing. Nevertheless, we forgive her. The words come to my lips unbidden, but as soon as I speak them, I understand why. Moeka does not kill Mayuri on this world line. Even if she could, it wouldn't happen until tomorrow. This Moeka, the one dying in my arms, is innocent of that crime. And yet even now she says I'm sorry. How can I not answer her? Perhaps the words are meaningless. Forgiving Moeka will not cure Nai's hate, neither will Moeka's death. I don't even know if I'm truly saying what I'm saying. But still I remember what Kurisu said. My goal is to save Mayuri, not avenge her. So here and now, that is all we can do. It will have to be enough. The anguish seems to fade from Moeka's face. Her eyes slowly close. And in moments, Moeka Kiryu is gone from this world. A tear slides down Moeka's cheek. Her hand slips from my grasp. She is no longer breathing. Biting my lip, I lay Moeka to rest on the floor. I place her purple phone in her hands. It's time to go. Kurisu calls to me in a weak voice.
D メールを送るべきだと思う。
Daru should have arrived at the lab by now.
準備はできてる。
That's good news. The only piece of good news we've had in so long. Moeka and FB are gone, but Mayuri's fate remains unchanged. The universe still demands her death.
なあクリスティーナ D メールを送ってダイバージェンスが変わったら萌香はそこで生きていると思うかそれとも死んだままだと思うか
I don't think Kurisu is capable of answering that question, Rintaro. But I believe that if we can get our hands on the IBN 5100 and reach the 1% threshold, then it's certainly possible.
あんたが言っていたアトラクタフィールド理論で考えるならダイバージェンスが 1% 以上なら生きている確率は高くなる
Indeed, once we reach 1% divergence, both Mayuri Shina and Moeka Kiryu and Yugo Tennouji will be spared the grisly fates that plague them in this world line.
こんな思いやりもクソもない言い方しかできなくて
It isn't your fault, Kurisu.
いいんだ
But we can't stay here any longer. I stand up. Mocha's blood clings to my hands. We should probably get out of here before the police arrive. It won't come off, even when I wipe it with a tissue. I stop trying and take out FB's phone. I nod to Kurisu. She calls Daru and tells him to activate the phone wave TBA. After so much pain and suffering and misery, it's time to end this. I take one last look at Mocha's body lying there. Stop search, PC unneeded, stand by. And Tennouji's phone is a rather grey metallic phone. Probably typical of a certain rounder. But anyway, we have what we need. We have FB's phone. We have the message ready to send to Moeka in the past. Let's do this. It's time. And there we go. 0.571046%. The world line warps. Once the distortion dissipates, Kurisu is gone. So is Moeka's body. So we changed the divergence factor not by much, but enough. Hopefully to change the outcome of the world line that has now ceased to exist. So when we return, adventurers, we will see if our efforts to change the world line was enough to bring the IBN 5100 back to the Future Gadget Laboratory, back into the hands of Rintaro Okabe, aka Hoin Kiyoma. As always, until next we meet.